Billy Luna.
I'ma be the last one standing tall.
Skinny with Joey Merlino.
So one night, my father gets a Seville, brand new Cadillac Seville. I got it. I go pick the blade up.
Nick the Blade.
Yeah, he come out with a fucking white suit on. I believe he was going to his confirmation, right? You ready for this? A white suit and a German Shepherd.
A white suit and a German Shepherd?
We went in the nightclub with the fucking dog, and he had the suit on. He was the best.
Wait, the Blade brought a German Shepherd to a nightclub. Nobody said no.
Walk right in.
Walk right in with the fucking
We used to
Shepherd.
drink all night and walk out. He got 3 years. They charged him with extortion for beating the check. They said he was extorting the guy. He used to go drink and then we used to walk out. We had no money.
No
We're
man.
broke.
Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video.
You are also a part of this video. Remember, let me know what you all think in the comments about all of these topics. When Skinny Joey Merlino tells stories, Joe mentions people who are alleged to have been in the Mafia and touches on a bunch of alleged Mafia-related situations. However, Joe doesn't elaborate about these topics at all. What I do is provide you with bonus content related to Joe's stories. I create mini documentaries that add context. So after you watch this video, make sure that you join the Skinny with Joey Merlino Patreon page, and then you can check out all of the full episodes. The Patreon link is in this video's description. There is nothing like getting the entire story straight from the mouth of Joe. Let me tell you a little bit more about Chucky Merlino. Chucky Merlino was the alleged underboss of the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family under his childhood friend, alleged boss, Nicky Scarfo. As I go into further in another video, back in 1963, Merlino and Scarfo had an altercation in a Philadelphia diner that ended with Scarfo fatally stabbing a burly longshoreman named William Duggan. Scarfo ended up serving a 6-month prison term for that. As I go further into in yet another video, allegedly, back in the day, Chucky Merlino was meeting with members of the Pagans Outlaw Motorcycle Club. Chucky didn't like the way the negotiations were going, so Chucky rammed his car into a pagan on his motorcycle, injuring the outlaw biker. There's a rumor that Nicky Scarfo demoted Chucky from underboss back down to captain. Whatever the case, Chucky Merlino was convicted in 1988. He was a stand-up guy. He never ratted. And Chucky Merlino ended up dying in a Fort Worth prison in 2012 at the age of 73. At one point in the Patreon episode, Joey points out a building near the greenhouse where Joe and Snuff are shooting the episode. Joe says that is where Phil Leonetti killed his friend Vince Falcone so that Crazy Phil could later marry Falcone's girlfriend. In a future video, I will do a deep dive into this treacherous story. Joey talks about Phil Leonetti, Crazy Phil. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Philip Crazy Phil Leonetti was the underboss of the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family, allegedly under his uncle, Nicodemo Little Nicky Scarfo. In 1989, Phil became a rat and testified against his uncle. Crazy Phil served only 5 years in prison for confessing to 10 murders. Nicholas the Blade Virgilio. Born in South Philadelphia, the Blade was a convicted 3-time killer, bookmaker, and extortionist. The Blade stood 5'10" with a solid trim frame. He had a long, angular face and gray curly hair that he often wore in a pompadour. In prison, the Blade prided himself on doing 100 push-ups at a time and eating a clean diet. Nicknamed the Blade, Virgilio was quick with a switchblade and had a notorious temper. The reason that I created my YouTube channel was to use it as a platform to develop book, television, and film projects. If I was casting a movie about Nicholas the Blade Virgilio, I would cast Academy Award-winning actor Adrian Brody as the Blade. Brody is an incredible actor and bears a strong resemblance to the deadly Philly wise guy. Allegedly, at the age of 22, Nick the Blade got into a confrontation with a sailor outside of a bar in the then red light district of Philly at 13th and Locust Street. Virgilio flicked open a switchblade knife and plunged it repeatedly into the sailor's chest. Before sentencing Virgilio to 3 to 10 years in prison, Philadelphia Judge Vincent A. Carroll said of him, "He ought to be whipped, forced to have his hair cut, and to shave off those sideburns." In the 1960s, Virgilio was a maitre d' in Atlantic City when he met Little Nicky Scarfo. Allegedly, Scarfo had been exiled to AC by Philly family boss Angelo Bruno. The Blade would become a trusted friend and associate of Scarfo and Skinny Joey Merlino's pop, Salvatore Merlino. The Blade later became one of Scarfo's bodyguards and top enforcers. Here's a rare photo of Nicky Scarfo and the Blade from the 1970s. In 1970, Virgilio pleaded no contest to killing New Jersey bricklayer Robert Welsh. The Blade thought the case was fixed after Edwin J. Helfont, an attorney and later judge, was given $6,000 by Nicky Scarfo to bribe another Superior Court judge so that the Blade would get a light sentence. Instead, Helfont kept the $6,000 and Virgilio got 15 years, not the lenient sentence that he and Scarfo had in mind. Judge Helfont had made a big mistake by crossing the Blade, but an even bigger mistake by crossing Little Nicky Scarfo. What the was this guy thinking? Allegedly, on the very day that Scarfo was released from Yardville prison, Scarfo announced that he was going to kill Helfont. The fact that Helfont was a judge meant absolutely nothing to Little Nicky. Scarfo then put the murder on hold until the Blade got out of prison, because the Blade sent a message to Scarfo saying that Virgilio wanted to kill Helfont himself. Virgilio spent 6 long years in state prison, stewing over the double cross. To make matters worse, Helfont refused to return the money to Scarfo. This cat Helfont must have had a death wish. After the Blade was released on February 15th, 1978, allegedly, Scarfo personally drove Virgilio to the Flamingo Lounge in Atlantic City. Wearing a ski mask, the Blade entered and spotted Helfont at the bar with his wife. The Blade stalked up to Helfont and fired 5 shots into Helfont's face. Virgilio made a quick exit. When the Blade arrived at his girlfriend's apartment later that evening after 9 p.m., allegedly, he told his girl, quote, "I'm glad I was here since 8 p.m., unquote. In 1980, the Blade was deemed an unsavory character and blacklisted by the New Jersey Casino Control Commission. Allegedly, with Nicholas the Blade Virgilio's 3rd murder, he made his bones, becoming a made guy in the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family. Allegedly, one of Scarfo's first acts as the new boss of the Philly Mafia was to induct Virgilio into the secret society in May of 1982. In 1983, Virgilio was sentenced to 3 years in prison for shaking down several bars. Here is a rare photo of the Blade in prison with Carmine Persico, boss of the Palumbo family. The tall guy in the center of the photo turned out to be a rat. During the historic 1988 trial of Nicky Scarfo and 15 others, the Blade steadfastly claimed his innocence. A jury found the Blade guilty of RICO charges. Nicholas the Blade Virgilio was a stand-up guy. The Blade died of a heart attack in prison at the age of 67 in 1995. He passed away whilst serving a 40-year sentence on federal racketeering charges for the murder of Judge Edwin J. Helfont and 2 extortions. Joey opens up his story about the Blade by saying that although Joey did prison time with the Blade at the Jersey State Prison in Leesburg, the Blade was more of a friend to Joey's father. Of course, Joey's father was Salvatore Merlino, alleged former underboss of the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family. Joey's father is often referred to as Chucky Merlino, but a little known fact, in the old neighborhood, Joey's pop was better known as Sonny. Joey talks about Nicholas Virgilio's nickname, The Blade. Joey goes on to mention that Nick's son, who was a good friend of Joey's, was called the Penknife, and the Blade's nephew was called the Nail Clipper. When Joey speaks of Nicholas Virgilio's son, known as the Penknife, Joey is referring to Michael Virgilio. Joey said that the Blade was very superstitious. Joey said that the Blade was always like, don't touch this, don't touch that. Many psychologists believe that having and practicing superstitions is a form of obsessive-compulsive behavior. Joey said that he was behind the wall in general population in Leesburg prison. Joey says that Nick the Blade and Joe Crutch were in the camp. They call it the farm. This is a more cushy prison environment. When Joey refers to Joe Crutch, he means Joe Crutch Curo, another alleged made man in the Philly Mafia who would eventually rise to the rank of consigliere. The Blade and Joe Crutch shared a cell in the farm. Joey says that they had a nice living situation. They had a refrigerator and a TV of their own. They received 40 pounds of food a month. Joey was finally moved from General Pop to the farm. One day, Joey, the Blade, and Joe Crutch were hanging out watching action news on TV. The Blade's son and Joey's good friend, Michael Virgilio, a.k.a. the Penknife, was on the lam for a violent incident that took place in a bar. In the news segment, Jim Gardner of Action News was doing a live location shoot about a politician at the South Philly hotspot Palumbo's. I will finish breaking down Joey's story about the Blade, but first let me tell you a bit more about Palumbo's. The noted restaurant and nightclub Palumbo's in the Italian market section of South Philly originally opened in 1886 as a boarding house for Italian immigrants. In the 1940s and 1950s, Philadelphia was an important pop music center, with many bands and singers being made or broken in the city. Palumbo's later became a favorite haunt of Philadelphia politicians and a stage for big-name stars, including Frank Sinatra, Jimmy Durante, Louis Armstrong, and many other noted comics and performers. Sinatra visited the Black Tie Saloon frequently, and controversial Philadelphia mayor Frank Rizzo spent many evenings there. Anyway, back to Joey's story. Joey, Nick the Blade, and Joe Crutch were hanging out watching action news on TV. Joey asked the Blade about how his son and Joey's friend Michael, the Penknife, was doing. As I mentioned, the Blade's son was on the run from the law. The Blade tells Joey, "Michael's good. We have him stashed. They'll never find him." At that exact moment, Joey looks up at the newscast on TV. There's a politician at an event on a live feed from Palumbo's in South Philly. Suddenly, they see the Penknife walking behind the politician in the newscast. The Penknife is at Palumbo's working as a busboy, schlepping a tray full of dishes. Joey is like, "What the f-?" You are also a part of this video. Remember, let me know what you all think in the comments about all of these topics. If you dig this video, share it with your friends on social media. Also, hit up all my other socials. I'm just getting started with them. The links are all in the description. Ciao.
Billy Luna. Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video. Thank you.